You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
Right-wing group characteristics and ideology. Timothy G. Basinger. Introduction. Following the September 11, 2001 World Trade Center attack, our national attention was focused on Osama bin Laden, Al-Qaeda, and other radical Islamic extremists. On April 19, 1995, the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building was bombed by a native-born white male United States citizen who harbored right-wing extremist beliefs. While our collective consciousness prioritizes radical Islamists as the preeminent threat, should individuals and groups that encompass the radical right be viewed as having a reduced capacity to perform acts of terrorism? What future trends will be adopted by the radical right? How could these trends lead to an escalation of the threat posed by right-wing extremists? What can be done to reduce the threat of terrorism perpetrated by right-wing adherents? Before offering an answer to these questions, we should establish a knowledge baseline to understand the history, key figures, and beliefs of right-wing extremist groups in the United States. The specific ideology of right-wing extremism is frequently difficult to define because adherents have multiple and frequently simultaneous memberships in the array of right-wing groups. Many people involved in right-wing groups have come from other right-wing organizations and will likely move on to other groups as their beliefs change. One Christian identity movement. To understand Christian identity is to understand a core feature of right-wing extremism. While some right-wing groups and individuals do not embrace the ideas of the Christian identity movement, it has become a prominent religious belief for many right-wing extremists. Theology. According to David Brannan, Left and Right-Wing Political Terrorism, a chapter in the Politics of Terrorism, Christian identity is comprised of two separate theological ideas. The first and most prevalent form of Christian identity is referred to as Seed-line theology. In Seed-line theology, Jews are depicted as the actual offspring of the devil, Lucifer, and Eve. All non-whites, according to Seed-line theology, are considered to be the beasts in the field, a reference to the biblical passage contained in Genesis 1:24. Right-wing extremists who embrace Seed-line Christian identity theology possess core beliefs to justify death, enslavement, or expulsion of all non-whites from the country. 3. The British Israel version of Christian identity is the second theological belief embraced by right-wing extremists. According to Brannan, British Israel followers believe Aryans, rather than the Jews, are God's chosen people. True Israel is actually comprised of the Anglo-Saxon, British, Scandinavian, and Baizinger. http://www.saj.org Germanic peoples, not Semitic or Ashkenazi Jews. 4. Pete Peters, the pastor of the LaPorte Church of Christ in Colorado, preaches British Israel Christian identity theology. Part of Peter's message is that Jews are not God's chosen people and true Israelites are the Celtic, Anglo-Saxon, Scandinavian, Germanic, and kindred people. Peters claims these true Israelites can be identified biblically, historically, and archaeologically. 5. Bertrand Comparet, an earlier figure associated with the formative years of Christian identity, in his essay Christian Identity, What Is It?, provides an account of Adam's people. Comparet notes the name Adam, in Hebrew, refers to being able to show blood in the face, to be fair, rosy-cheeked, to be ruddy, and to be able to blush or flush. 6. This description fits the true Israelites of British Israel theology. Both Seed-line and British Israel Christian identity adherents refer to information contained in the 13th Tribe by Arthur Koestler to support their views of modern-day Jews. Koestler claims the majority of Jews surviving the Holocaust were of Eastern European descent, primarily the Khazar Empire. 7. The Khazar Empire was a Jewish state comprised mostly of Turks, prominent between the 7th and 10th centuries. It was located in Eastern Europe and controlled a vital area between the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea. 8. After the destruction of their empire, Khazar tribes and communities were believed to have migrated to Russia and Poland, where the largest populations of Jews were located during the beginning of the modern age. According to Koestler, This migration has led many historians to speculate that a majority of the Jews in the world today may not be of Semitic origin, they may actually be of Khazar ancestry. 9. Christian identity history. During the middle part of the 19th century, the idea of British Israelism became a movement as a result of the works of John Wilson. His book, Lectures of Our Israelitish Origin, his speeches, and other writings appealed to the British middle class. 10. According to James Otto in The Politics of Righteousness, Idaho Christian patriotism, British Israelism was imported to Canada and then passed on to the United States through 2 points of entry. First, in 1928, Howard Rand of Maine started spreading the British Israel message through his newsletter, The Kingdom Message. In 1930, Rand met William J. Cameron, the editor of Henry Ford's Dearborn Independent, and eventually they formed the Anglo-Saxon Federation of America. 11. The Dearborn Independent was a very anti-Jewish publication and was later used as the basis of Henry Ford's book The International Jew, The World's Foremost Problem. 12. The other location for the export of the British Israel movement to the United States was Vancouver, British Columbia, which influenced followers in Washington and Oregon. A British Israel group in Vancouver influenced the emergence of Christian identity through its participation in a series of conferences held in the western United States from 1937 through 1947. The Vancouver group spread and supported information that fostered the adoption of apocalyptic, conspiratorial, and anti-Semitic beliefs.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.